After testing the M3 MacBook Air for a week, I am left with one question. Does it make more sense to buy the MacBook Air over the MacBook Pro? In this video, I'll explain which one you should get and why, because not everyone should get the same model, and that's not just because of the difference in performance. For example, one of the biggest benefits of the MacBook Air over the Pro is that it's super lightweight and portable. This is definitely something to keep in mind if you're a student who commutes between classes, for example, or if you just commute a lot in general, because that lighter form factor will save your back and can make the overall experience a lot more enjoyable. For reference, the MacBook Air is actually lighter than a 12.9-inch iPad Pro with a Magic Keyboard attached to it, and the MacBook is also thinner than that combination, while the MacBook Pro adds 0.7 pounds to that and is 0.17 inches thicker. Obviously, that doesn't sound like a big deal, but I was actually shocked at the difference when holding them side by side for the first time. That being said though, this might not matter to you. I work from home and mostly use my MacBook at my desk, for example, so I don't really mind if my MacBook's a bit thicker or not. One thing that does matter to me though is the screen, and this is where there's actually a huge difference between the two MacBooks. The MacBook Pro display can get twice as bright when displaying HDR content, has a faster refresh rate so everything feels a lot smoother on it, and uses a mini LED panel which, compared to the MacBook Air's liquid retina panel, can deliver way darker blacks and, in my opinion, more vivid colors. But then again, not everyone should care about this because they're both great displays. If you're just working in an Excel sheet and watch the occasional movie, for example, you will be more than fine with the MacBook Air's display. But if you're a photo or video editor like me, or work as a graphic designer, for example, this might be the biggest reason for you to make the jump to the MacBook Pro. Now you might be wondering, but what about performance? Isn't there a huge difference between the two here? But here's the thing, when you look at the base models, you can see that they almost have the exact same M3 chip. The only difference is that the MacBook Air lacks internal cooling, while the MacBook Pro has a built-in fan that can cool down the chip and thus make it perform a bit better. That being said though, there will be people that find that the MacBook Air isn't enough for their workflow. Video editing on this machine is definitely possible, but you will start seeing that spinning beach ball with large projects that require more processing. And processor intensive tasks like color grading will feel a bit clunky. So if you're a heavy video editor or demand a lot from your computer in another way, I would recommend looking at the MacBook Pro with an M3 Pro or M3 Max chip. But for everyone else, the MacBook Air will be more than enough. Battery life is another important factor for a lot of people, and on Apple's website we can see that the MacBook Air has an 18-hour battery life that I have found to be more than enough for my workflow. And even though the MacBook Pros last even longer, I would not consider this a good reason to upgrade, as the MacBook Air's battery life will already be enough for most people, especially if you're gonna charge it daily. The last thing that comes into play when deciding between the MacBook Air and the MacBook Pro are the ports, because the MacBook Pro has one extra USB-C port, an SD card slot, and an HDMI port, which the MacBook Air does not have. I honestly haven't found this to be that big of an issue though, as there are some very easy workarounds for this. I can just import my photos and videos directly from my camera instead of using the SD card reader, for example. And yes, this is a bit slower, but it works, so I'm not complaining. So in the end, who should buy the MacBook Air and who should buy the MacBook Pro? Honestly, the only three things that I would take into consideration are the portability, the screen, and the performance. If you're someone who's on the go a lot, I would really try to make the MacBook Air work, as it does make that big of a difference. But if you're someone that needs a better display or more performance for work, I would sacrifice that portability and make the jump to the MacBook Pro. I hope that you found this video useful, and if you do end up buying a new MacBook, or if you already have one, make sure to check out this video next, in which I cover 14 apps that will elevate your Mac's experience. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Bye!